This is RTV6 News at 6, working for you.
Tonight, a community group is working to expose the connection between bullying and suicide. Thanks for joining us here at 6 o'clock. I'm Nicole Griffin. Today, Sisters Standing Together and Real Men held an anti-bullying and suicide summit dedicated to saving lives. RTV6's Troy Washington is working for you to explain the passion behind the purpose of today's event.
I had one son that was murdered because he was praying by a car. And at his funeral, I promised him I would do everything in my life till God called me home to make a difference in this city. And that's why I do what I do.
It's a message born out of tragedy, but turned into triumph. Kelly Sanders created Sisters Stand Together with real men to mend her own broken heart. And in the process, she's healing and helping others.
We talked about bullying, we talked about suicide, we talked about abuse, we talked about trafficking, we talked about things that are actually a part of bullying, which is domestic violence.
During Saturday's Anti-Bullying and Suicide Prevention Summit, dozens addressed their internal struggles head on. The event gave youth and parents the space, an opportunity to be honest, open, and receptive to advice on how to find the light in life.
We brought people that could actually speak as a testimony how they made it through. Our purpose for the day is to save lives.
And Sanders says if that means having uncomfortable but necessary conversations to spread hope, it's a sacrifice she'll keep making to meet people right where they are in life.
We ask all those that's been bullied to hold up your hand, or if you contemplated suicide, hold up your hand.
With each raised hand, this group recognizes that's a person fighting to live and determined to thrive. Working for you, Troy Washington, RTV6.
Troy, thank you. During today's event, parents made a special pact with their children. Troy will have that part of the story tonight on the news at 11. The Marion County coroner has just identified the victim in a West Side homicide. Police found 32-year-old Robert Larry Owens dead in an alley on Pruitt Street yesterday afternoon around 4 o'clock. He's described as having trauma to his body, but the coroner has not released an autopsy report, and no arrests have been made in this case. Now to the very latest on the coronavirus, which has now turned deadly in the United States. Officials in Washington state confirming a resident died after contracting the virus, and they are monitoring a healthcare facility in King County where the coronavirus was found. This as more people in the country are testing positive and fears are continuing to grow. ABC's Andrea Fugigi has more now from New York.
Washington state has confirmed a person with coronavirus has died. The man in his 50s with underlying health issues is the first virus-related death in the U.S.
At this point, we do not have widespread community-wide transmission locally. We have transmission that's associated with an outbreak at this long-term care facility.
This as more coronavirus cases emerge on the West Coast, and more countries are announcing their first cases, all raising concerns of a potential pandemic. President Trump spoke from the White House.
Our country is prepared for any circumstance. We hope it's not going to be a major circumstance. It'll be a smaller circumstance, but whatever the circumstance is, we're prepared.
The Trump administration is also adding more travel restrictions to specific regions in Italy and South Korea. The CDC now permitting states to do their own virus testing. The goal is to have every state and local health department up and running by next week with testing kits. And the FDA will now allow accredited labs to conduct the tests. Tests that come back positive will then go to CDC headquarters in Atlanta for confirmation. Meanwhile, more people who contracted COVID-19 without being in contact with those who are sick or traveling are popping up. In Oregon, their first presumptive case of COVID-19, a school employee who may have exposed students and staff. Public health officials urging caution and vowing to limit transmission.
While most cases appear to be mild, states are doing what they can to contain the virus. And as more testing kits become available, the number of diagnosed cases are likely to go up. Andrea Fugigi, ABC News, New York.
And developing tonight, the National College Players Association says there should be a serious discussion about holding the March Madness tournaments without an audience due to the coronavirus. The Midwest Regional round of the NCAA March Madness tournament is scheduled for March 26th and 28th at Lucas Oil Stadium in Indianapolis. In a release posted today, the NPCA says the NCAA and its colleges must act now. There is no time to waste. They also say that colleges need to take precautions to protect college athletes and should cancel events that put players in contact with crowds like meet and greets and press events. Tonight, we asked fans what they think about this idea.
So I can't imagine that they would play the NCAA games without fans. It just won't be the same. I can understand the concern from a health perspective, but man, that's just going to be so different if they play those games without any fans.
And tonight, no direct response yet from the NCAA, but on the NCAA website, there is an entire page about the coronavirus that says staff members will work in conjunction with host schools, conference offices, and community partners to monitor developments through the NCAA Sports Science Institute. In light of the coronavirus outbreak, Indiana University is banning all travel to any country the CDC has identified with a level 3 travel advisory. Today, they added Italy to that list, which already includes China, South Korea, and Iran. The ban applies to all faculty, staff, and employees. IU will grant exceptions for humanitarian reasons to those traveling to these countries to assist with pandemic response. Anyone traveling to a CDC-designated level 3 country will be required to self-quarantine off campus for a period of 14 days before returning to Indiana University. Now to your Storm Team 6 forecast. Meteorologist Kyle Mount standing by. Kyle, that sunshine is so nice today.
Yeah, Nicole, it turned into a very nice afternoon, and we've got that to thank for that total sunshine here across central Indiana. We needed all of it because it was another cold start to the day. Temperatures well into the teens, lower teens is where you started off this morning in Lafayette and Peru. The good news is we're not going to see numbers quite this cold anytime soon. And this evening, we do have those numbers generally sitting still in the middle 30s, upper 20s for you. The cold spot in Peru right now. High pressure in control of our weather. That's keeping the skies clear and our weather quiet. If you're heading out this evening, mostly clear skies, just going to need that jacket with temperatures sliding back into the 20s.
We thought it would be a good way for the community to come together with all the violence going on in the city and just have a day of celebration of our culture.
As we wrap up the month of February in Black History Month, a special event was held today on the West Side. It aimed to not only celebrate the culture, but also call on members of the community to work together and make Indianapolis a safer place to live. The event brought together Mayor Joe Hogsett, his violence reduction staff, and grassroots violence reduction organizations. It was called Black History Month, past, present, and beyond. It was held at Municipal Gardens on Lafayette Road. The community-led celebration featured songs, dances, and poetry performed by children and teenagers from all across the city. We spoke with Shauna Majors, the city's director of community violence reduction, who says today was a chance for people to just take a breath and enjoy a safe place away from the violence.
This event is important because we're bringing people together from faith-based community, nonprofit. We have sororities and fraternities here so that kids can see people that have gone to college as well as people who have done wrong like they have done and turn their lives around. So we wanted to bring an entire community here together today.
The city's violence reduction team, which helped put on today's event, works to connect people with resources, intervene in violence in Indianapolis, and manage an annual $300,000 grant program that benefits violence reduction efforts.
Primary voting is underway here in South Carolina. I'm Trevor Alton, Columbia. I'll tell you the big questions today and which candidates are already looking ahead coming up.
Weekdays from 4:30 to 7. This is RTV6 News at 6, working for you.
The people of South Carolina are casting their votes in the Democratic primary. Former Vice President Joe Biden is hoping to kickstart a comeback nationally with a big win there, while other candidates are already shifting towards Super Tuesday. ABC's Trevor Alt has the latest from Columbia.
The South Carolina primary is a defining moment for the campaign of former Vice President Joe Biden. After disappointments in the first 3 states, he's counting on voters here to launch his comeback.
I don't think there's any number I have to have. I don't think I have to have win by 2 or 10 or, I mean, some polls are even higher than that. But the bigger the win, the bigger the bump.
Biden's been leading most recent polls in the state heading into the primary, bolstered by the endorsement of Representative James Clyburn and strong support among African Americans. Black voters in South Carolina made up nearly 60% of the electorate in 2016.
I feel that he's been proven from what has gone on in the past with him, with Obama.
Senator Bernie Sanders, the national frontrunner, is sitting in second in South Carolina. While he may not steal a victory, he's already looking ahead with strong positioning in upcoming Super Tuesday states, and other candidates with lackluster numbers in South Carolina need that Tuesday bounce.
I feel a wind at my back as we continue our campaign here. And then it is on to Super Tuesday, which is less than 72 hours from now, and we are going to stun the world.
A Biden victory could shift momentum in his favor, but by focusing his effort on South Carolina, others have an edge in campaign spending elsewhere, flooding Super Tuesday states with ads.
And if you think my campaign is expensive, just imagine what 4 more years of Donald Trump would cost our country.
54 delegates are at stake here in South Carolina. That's the most of any of the states so far, but that will quickly be dwarfed on Tuesday when more than 1,300 delegates will be handed out. Trevor Ault, ABC News, Columbia, South Carolina.
Trevor, thank you. Now to your Storm Team 6 forecast. Kyle, it is still a little chilly outside today, but I swear that sunshine just makes you feel good.
The sunshine really helps, and tomorrow we get March, a new month, and we're going to get a new temperature pattern here. A big warm-up comes pretty quickly. As we check out the sunset right now, IU and Bloomington, we have had total sunshine today. Right now, those temperatures in Monroe County are at 37 in Bloomington, 35 in downtown. A little cooler for you in Kokomo, in the lower 30s right now. The winds today have been fairly light, but out of a westerly direction. You notice they're starting to get a little more of a southerly turn here, and that's going to keep temperatures eventually from really tanking here. We'll level off into the middle 20s instead of starting off in the teens like we've done the last couple of mornings. Lower to middle 20s across central Indiana, even though we'll have those mostly clear skies. 25 in Lafayette, 26 in Indianapolis. So that is where we're going to start things off, and still we'll have quite a bit of sunshine starting off our Sunday. As we go into the afternoon, we start to see a few more of those clouds, but really not increasing the cloud cover here until we get into tomorrow night. And I do think we're going to keep the daylight hours dry for us ahead of that next weather system. Not only are the clouds increasing, but look at these temperatures and how quick they'll warm. We'll get to 45 at 11 a.m. and well into the middle 50s. It will be a little breezy. That south wind about 15, sometimes gusting a little bit higher than that. And it's not until tomorrow night that we start to see that rain moving back in. Few spots could even reach 60 degrees in Bloomington and Columbus, 54 in Muncie. So we're talking about temperatures from this morning in the teens to close to 60 degrees tomorrow. So some spots warming more than 40 degrees here over the course of the weekend. Here's a look at that next chance for rain, though. This is tomorrow night at midnight. You start to see that rain overspreading the area, and I do think we're going to need the umbrella here on Monday. We'll have some scattered showers. Now we're wrapping up what was a fairly soggy month of February. Good news is this system doesn't look like it's going to have a lot of rainfall, and even as we get into our Monday afternoon and evening, already the wet weather starting to move out. So most models right now indicating about a ½ inch or less of rainfall. 7-day forecast, we're going to keep the mild temperatures, though. Highs in the 50s right through Thursday, possibly even some more 60s there before it cools down a little bit, but seasonable as we head into the first full weekend anyway, of March.
Starting off March on a good note tomorrow.
Yeah, those temperatures, it's about time we make a change.
All right, sounds good. Thank you, Kyle. Well, something new and much needed. More colleges are adding food banks, but there can be a stigma surrounding them. Up next, the innovative way one school is changing that.
2020 Ultima.
It's a sad fact that every day people go hungry in this country, but what may surprise you is where that is happening on college campuses. Maya Rodriguez shows us an innovative way one university is reinventing what it means to go to a food pantry and trying to eliminate the stigma that comes with it.
That was nice. Nestled away on this college campus sits a student lounge unlike any you'll find at a typical college.
You're thinking someplace you can relax, someplace you can kind of just let your hair down for a moment.
Christina Beckton is a nursing student here at Bowie State University in Maryland.
There is certainly a financial constraint being in college.
And on more than one occasion, she's found herself hungry and here at the university's new nutritional lounge. It's a place where students can come and get food they can't afford. Inside, there's comfy seating, a flat-screen TV, and a jar for suggestions of food students would like to see featured on the shelves. But you won't see the words food pantry anywhere around here for one main reason.
There is a stigma, and we want the students to know that we're here to support them. We want to make sure that, they don't feel that any sense of shame.
Dr. Aminta Bro is president of Bowie State, Maryland's first historically black college and university. She says most of their 6,100 students are commuter students. Many work while going to school, but still hunger abounds, according to a survey by the Hope Center for College, Community, and Justice. A recent study at 123 college campuses around the country found that 45% of those surveyed said they had gone hungry in the last 30 days. It's a situation that school administrators say is both heartbreaking and unacceptable.
Unless we get the word out, as we are now, I don't think we'll be able to adequately address this issue.
Back at the lounge, food donations arrive from alumni, along with weekly donations from a local Food Lion supermarket and the Capital Area Food Bank.
Yeah, so definitely peanut butter. I have come in here and gotten oatmeal.
Donations that are making a difference in Christina's last few months of college.
This is my senior year. I'll be graduated in May. Thank you.
A helping hand before she and fellow students set out on their own. In Prince George's County, Maryland, I'm Maya Rodriguez reporting.
Stream it live on CourtTV.com.
It takes your breath away. Today I had a costume on. It was big and bulky, so it got wet and heavy, and it took me that extra second to get my breath finally.
Well, the sun was shining today, but it definitely was not warm enough to swim. But that sure did not stop more than 100 Special Olympics supporters from jumping in the water for the Greenwood Polar Plunge. Money raised from this signature fundraising event directly benefits more than 18,000 Special Olympics athletes throughout Indiana. It allows children and adults with intellectual disabilities to continue to benefit from no-cost participation in sports and other programs that Special Olympics Indiana offers. We talked to one man who is considered a super plunger. He's been taking the plunge for 14 years.
That's the most gratifying part. When you get to see where these funds go, when you get to help pay for some athletes who wouldn't otherwise be able to be included in some type of sporting events, and you see that pays for medals, trophies, equipment, coaching, training. Those are types of things that you really feel like, man, we're doing something great for such a great cause. That's why we're freezing for a reason.
Special Olympics isn't just about sports. It's more. It's about family and the friendships and all the bonds that you build with each other as an athlete. And as a participant in sports, I think it's important for us to be as a family.
This is just the second year for the Polar Plunge in Greenwood, and today they raised $39,000. Next weekend finishes out the Polar Plunge season with the Community Plunge Day on Saturday at Eagle Creek. Well, if it wasn't warm enough to swim today, it definitely was too cold to run through downtown in your underwear, but that also happened today as well. Take a look at this. Hundreds of people braved the weather to run in the Cupid's Undie Run. The run was about a mile long, and it started at the tap on Delaware Street. But this wasn't all about having fun. Each runner helped raise money that funds research through the Children's Tumor Foundation. The goal of the research is to find a cure for neurofibromatosis, a genetic tumor disorder that affects 1 in every 3,000 births. The reason why they run in their undies is because those affected with NF can't cover up their tumors to feel more comfortable. So participants say, why should we? We talked to one mother who has a daughter with NF, and her group helped raise over $20,000 for research.
We don't have a lot of options for these kiddos and these people that are diagnosed with NF, and so we need to find a cure, and that's what this event brings, is the money that we need to try to find a cure for NF through Children's Tumor Foundation. foundation.
It was a great run. It's just kind of something like body positivity, confidence, because people with that disease can get tumors outside of their body, and it's just kind of something that shows that we support them and just being comfortable in your own skin.
Today's event helped raise over $40,000 altogether that will directly go to find a cure for NF. And Kyle, I'm sure they appreciated the sunshine today.
Yeah, some great causes and brave people with those colder temperatures. If only it was as warm as it's going to be tomorrow. We'll see those numbers getting well into the 50s. And then it's not until Sunday night and Monday that rain's going to return. Could see about a ½ inch of rainfall, a little bit less in most areas. And we'll keep those highs in the 50s right on through Thursday. May even crack the 60-degree mark there before we cool it down just a little bit, but a lot of dry time in there too.
It looks like a nice week ahead. Thank you, Kyle, and thank you so much for joining us. We'll see you back here tonight at 11. Have a great night.